Greetings and a very warm welcome to everybody. We are live. We are presenting our new IMUNE 365 Healthy by Choice live seminars. And we're going to welcome Professor Desire Dubounet and Rita, Nemenyi, and myself very shortly. And tonight we have an unbelievable lineup. We'll be talking about part 2 of alien entities. And Professor Desire Dubounet has loads more to share with us. I'm sure you all agree last week was amazing. In fact, all the weekends leading up, weeks leading up to this, when we've been looking at a very specific subject, reincarnation, has been very enlightening and certainly raised our awareness to an unbelievable amount of things that we sort of knew of, and just helps really concretize it all for us. So we're going to be talking about that. We've got some good videos to show. I think Rita's prepared some things as well. And I can also speak on, direct patient feedback regarding alien entities. And then I'm going to end off with raising humanity's immunity to COVID. And that's using the word COVID in its greatest the greatest aspect of the word. In other words, whatever it means to you as well. A lot of the sinister dark stuff is covered there. So we want to raise humanity's immunity to cover all of that. And last year we ran a series of these basically across the whole year. And we slowly we actually saw things plummet sort of June, July, August last year, and then slowly started pick up. And 2 weeks ago when we came on, I actually loaded humanity's immunity to COVID, and I was quite startled because I saw massive improvements. In fact, I thought to myself, let me check it out first before I actually present the information to you. But honestly, actually, yes. And as you all know, there's lots of turning points happening right now. So what I'm suggesting we do, and I've got a little format for people to follow, practitioners who want to join in, quantum practitioners, and then those also who want to connect directly with the universal field, perfect as well. And we do a 24-hour raising humanity's immunity to COVID. And then tomorrow night at 7 p.m., I have another live show. And I'll put the link in the group for us as well, and we'll come in and basically report back on our findings, which is very exciting. But at the same time, we're using our autofocus devices, and we're shifting with humanity as humanity shifts. So I really think at this point in time, it would be great for us to rekindle this. And there's a lot of also practitioners in the group that have joined in. So if anyone's new and is a bit confused as to what to do, I'm going to show you a little quick format at the end. And that's the quantum therapists. And then everyone can join in any event. And I'll post this straight afterwards this evening so that anybody who wants to join can join us in the 24-hour. So we're going to continue now with the alien entities. And for those of you without quantum devices, you will find that when we work as quantum therapists, we get alerted to the fact that there's an abnormal waveform, a second personality, if you like, attached to the client or the patient that we're dealing with. And then we automatically are asked to remove the entity. So we do that automatically. We don't go into it. We don't ask questions. And we clear that, and automatically there's a whole new space, a whole new energy for the person once that's done and once it's left. So we do that automatically. We go into it, we don't ask questions. That is alerting us straight away to, as I said, an abnormal waveform. So we have none other than infamous Professor Desire Dubounet joining us. She's in the room. Hi, Desi. Hi, Rita.
Hello, Jay. We got on. The link you sent me today didn't let me on. I went to last week's link.
Desi, can you turn your volume up?
Can you hear me?
We just need your volume up a little bit, please. All right, well, I'm going to start with our first video because it's ready, and then Desi can come in.
We are teaching you to use your own biofeedback awareness to understand that you could correct the hormone imbalance affecting your emotions. This is something you can do. You can become aware of the hormone glands in your body and how to work with them. We're talking now about the pineal gland. And the pineal gland, located up here behind the eye, is known as our third eye. And it's important for us to be able to wake it up. There's some ways we're going to be talking about to awaken the third eye, to increase clarity, concentration. The third eye is known as the pineal gland.
Actually, it's located in the middle down here, and it correlates to what we call the third eye. You can't see the third eye, but it's what we call the sixth sense. That means that it's seeing beyond what the five senses see. And what's happened is that, I mean, this is a secret that they've known in ancient Egypt. They know it in the Vatican. Everywhere you go in the Vatican, you see this pine.
Right, and no one knew what it was.
Yeah.
Another thing to take care of this, we're going to be talking about 6 tips. So the first tip is to avoid fluorine. Avoid that in your tap water that has fluorine.
Many ancient esoteric traditions and mystical schools knew of the potential of the pineal. The ancient Greeks believed it to be our connection to the realms of thought. Buddhists know it as a symbol of spiritual awakening. In Hinduism, the pineal connects with the third eye chakra, the seat of intuition and clairvoyance.
Try sun gazing. Stare at the sun, not directly, but try to get that light into your eyes. 15 minutes at the beginning of the day.
Claim that the eye is the lamp of the body, so then if your eye is clear, your whole body will be full of light. If Rene Descartes is right, and the pineal gland is indeed the seat of the human soul, then these traditions are correct in believing that it serves as the connecting link between the physical and spiritual worlds.
So this technique will be done in 2 phases. The first phase, for the first 20 seconds, we're going to stimulate right in the center of the thumb. We're going to pinch it, pinch both sides, pinch it hard together, back and forth, pinch and release. Good, for about 20 seconds. Keep doing it. Some of you may feel some changes as you do this back in the nasal region.
Avoid all synthetic and processed foods. Clean up your diet and supplement your diet. Cilantro, seaweed, garlic, honey. These are fuel for the pineal gland.
Okay. Now, after 20 seconds, you're going to take these same 2 fingers, and I want you to squeeze the side part of the nail bed, just like this. You're going to squeeze it together, just like this. Okay, you're going to squeeze it, and you're going to hold that point.
Learn to meditate, chant regularly. Use the pineal gaze. Look up into the forehead with both eyes.
You're going to hold it anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute. And as you hold it, right now I'm starting to feel changes behind my nasal area. I feel it opening up. I can feel my sinuses open up. I can feel myself breathing better, but I'm feeling pressure relieving back in my sinus area.
Certain essential oils can also be very, very good to help stimulate the pineal. Lavender, sandalwood, frankincense, parsley.
This is stimulating the pituitary gland right now. Many people will get different symptoms. Some of you may feel a surge of energy, clarity, more focus. You may feel that you can breathe better. You feel more connected with yourself.
And yes, even crystals, indigo, violet, dark crystals. These things can also help stimulate pineal. Now we're trying to develop our biofeedback awareness, and the hypothalamus, this is the key spot above the pineal gland that helps to regulate everything through the pituitary. The hypothalamus is so involved in basically regulating all of our desires, everything that we're drawn away from or drawn towards, to help us stabilize the body. If you become aware and increase your awareness, your own true biofeedback, And the machine will help you because we're giving you treatment now through different electroceuticals. And now we're going to discuss the thyroid, the powers of the thyroid gland, because this also helps to affect emotions, and this is an important gland in regulating energy. We're talking about increasing energy today, increasing your energy. It's going to start with an awareness of the thyroid gland to make sure we're getting that energy from the thyroid. We've got to defeat fatigue and the weight gain and bulging eyes, the irregularities of the thyroid gland. And here we're going to be able to use cold processed walnut oil, a couple of drops before bed, massage into the thyroid. It helps to wake up that thyroid and wake up and recognize that the pituitary gland is in charge of that thyroid. So we want to get into the feedback loop. And the cold processed oil, that walnut oil, really help to work with the thyroid and to bring it back into health. Become aware of the energy in the neck, that chakra area of the neck. Red onion juice can also be used. But here's a nice little tip to take coriander and make a nice little drink. Crush up the coriander seeds. Don't use too violent a process. Crush them up slowly. This will help to free up the different nutrients. If you use the mixer, it's too hot. But you want to be able to crush them up and then store them for use later. Mix them in with water. Keep it overnight. Let it soak. Boil it at a low flame. Help to separate it till it gets down, and the vital nutrients will all be there. Strain off the seeds, and you take this and drink this in the morning. Let it wake up the intestine. Don't have anything else for 30 minutes, and then have your breakfast. This will really help clean out all the problems of the thyroid and regulate it, and make it clean and working, and take your energy level up to the moon. So what we're talking about today is biofeedback for energy. Walnut oil massage, coriander seed, very important. Now let's talk about a couple of yoga poses. Here we have a breathing exercise. Make the sound of Om very slowly. Move the head back and forth. Stimulate Ra, Ma, Ro, Throw. All sounds for the thyroid. Ra, Ma, Ro, Throw. Make those sounds. Mantra helps the thyroid, push the thyroid. Very important. Another yoga pose that we are able to use is 5 minutes holding the breath and now doing a bellows breathing. Doing the bellows breathing to help to get the S. Now hold the breath. Hold the breath. Exhale through the left nostril. Develop the alternate nostril breathing. Working to help stabilize the thyroid. It's very important holding the breath so that that carbon dioxide will get oxygen to cross it into the brain through the blood-brain barrier. So holding the breath, very, very powerful after doing some of the bellows. And now the lion pose. The lion pose. Stretch all the muscles of your mouth. Stick your tongue out as hard as you can. Hold it 30 seconds. Hold it, hold it. This will energize blood into the sinuses, into the throat, into the thymus. And these little exercises will help the thyroid to make sure that we can activate the energy. So working with the thyroid, increasing our energy through a biofeedback. So when we feel low, we have that biofeedback mechanism to do this. Other things that we need to know for the thyroid is to avoid the ionized salt because there's too many problems with that. We want to get the natural version of the rock salt, the sea salt, the Himalayan salt. We want to be able to recognize that we avoid the tea and coffee. There's too much tannin. It will hurt the thyroid. Also recognize, avoid all the processed food. Avoid those things. It's terrible, terrible food. You avoid those things. Cabbage, beans, nuts, cauliflower, very good, but they're better cooked. Avoid them raw. Especially avoid the red cabbage. That will weaken the thyroid. Avoid the red cabbage. Red cabbage and collard greens can weaken the thyroid. And we're going to be sensing how we can find our own true biofeedback when our energy is getting low. So we can find ways to build up our energy with our own biofeedback. We're being stimulated through the machine. Now we're going into the thymus. The thymus at birth is the largest gland of the body, and it just doesn't change its size. As you grow up around it. But the thymus will atrophy due to stress if you don't handle the stress. Now recognize that the thymus tap, this is what Tarzan does, the thymus tap. That thymus tap really pushes energy into the body, awakens the thymus, awakens the immune system, awakens the brain. That thymus, when it's depressed because of stress and tension and troubles and concerns, it will then take your immune system down, take your whole energy down. And we want to stimulate that thymus and recognize that the thymus tap, a little bit of song, a little bit of just like Tarzan pounding the chest, the thymus tap. It really works to bring energy into the body and waken up the mind.
With a common denominator.
It has what they call the suprasternal notch. So let's find that suprasternal notch. Come down from your neck, right in the middle, and you'll feel a notch, like a little U, and your finger will sink right into it. Well, that is the top part of the manubrium of the sternal region.
This exercise will help the thymus, but it also would start energy into the brain to stabilize the sympathetic and parasympathetic nerves that exist behind the chest area there.
We're going to be concerned today is stimulating the sympathetic nervous system. This is going to increase oxygen to the brain, to increase alertness. It's going to allow our sight, our hearing, and other senses to become sharper. This is what's going to allow nutrients to flood into the bloodstream.
Stabilizing the endocrine system is very important, but also stabilizing the sympathetic, parasympathetic, the different autonomic nervous systems. Very, very important.
Your sternum. The pinky side will go against your sternum right below the suprasternal notch. I'll take this hand and I'll tap it firmly. 1, 2. That's it.
And now a key place, the adrenal glands. Because so many of us get weak adrenals called hypoadrenia. Our whole life energy gets weak because we need to stimulate the adrenal gland.
You're going to put your fingers with your middle finger in your belly button, and you're going to come out about 1 inch. Then you're going to move up about 1 inch as well. So for those of you who are working in the more new system, then it's about 2.5 centimeters from the belly button and 2.5 centimeters up. From here, you're just going to go in. Now, for some of us, we have a fair bit of flesh here. For other people, they might be a little trimmer. But you're going to go in until you feel some kind of resistance. So you want your tummy muscles to actually be quite relaxed here. If you're really engaging those abs at this point, then you're going to actually just be working the muscle instead of going into the reflex point for the adrenal glands. So you're going to come in until you feel some kind of resistance, and from that place, you're going to make circles and massaging this area. We're working with neurolymphatic reflex points, and usually with those we go in as deep and as hard as we can. But actually with these adrenal ones, it's very important that we meet them where they're at.
The adrenal gland is where we get our adrenaline from. It sits here on the kidney. We have 2 of them on different sides of the kidney. And these are very, very important to produce the adrenaline that we need. There's so many things. The adrenal glands can actually make any of the hormones whenever we need them. They're a key part of our entire life process. We can see that the massage of the adrenal gland from the front might be able to get there, but actually it's pretty difficult. There's an awful lot of organs to reach through. It's better that we do an adrenal stimulation from the back. and we're going to teach you the adrenal tap. Just setting down, you need to reach your hands into the back, tap lightly on the adrenal spots about 25-30 times.
We also have points on the back in exactly the same place. So you could put your hands on the spine in line with the belly button, come out 2.5 centimeters, go up 2.5 centimeters, and massage them there as well in exactly the same way. And it's a really great way to start helping your adrenal glands to relax and release some of that excess energy that they hold.
One, the holding your breath test. Now, one good indication of adrenal fatigue is the ability to hold your breath for long periods of time.
Holding the breath is an indication of an awful lot of different functions, and also an indication of the adrenal function. If you can hold the breath for more than a minute, it's an indicator that your adrenals are more healthy. And the longer you can hold the breath, the better it will be for the entire body. Because that carbon dioxide will then, as it builds up and you hold the breath, it will be detected by the body and thereby allow oxygen to go into the brain. So we want to recognize, we want to be able to bring in oxygen, but also be able to hold the breath. And by holding the breath, we will stimulate the energy of the body a little bit more. Just once or twice a day, holding the breath to make sure we get more oxygen into the brain. So every day, do a little holding the breath.
And so if you have really good adrenals, you can hold your breath for like a minute or longer.
If we measure the blood pressure sitting then standing, we also get an indication of whether the adrenal. We should not have too much of a drop, but we can also see the adrenal from the eyes and the reaction to light.
Here, shine the light into the eye. The small little pupil should get smaller and maintain that smallness by keeping the light held steady. If it starts to get weak and start to open up, which a lot of times it will within about, 10 to 15 seconds, then we know the adrenals are weak because the entire nervous system that controls that is weak.
It's very important for us to understand the need to eat whole plant foods for the fiber. This will feed our gut microbiome, the bacteria, to make the chemicals we need for brain activity. It's very important that we get the fiber, plant fiber, and get that into our diet every day so we can make the proper hormones inside our gut to feed the brain and stabilize all of life and get everything working, all the different hormones. It's very important that we understand to not eat for emotional reasons, because the gallbladder sends out a hormone after eating. And it's very important for us to realize we need to eat for nutrition, not for stimulation, and to stabilize the gallbladder so that we can get proper hypothalamus satiation, not through emotional eating, but through eating the plant fiber and getting the body stabilized. And finally, our biofeedback will develop on compassion and contemplation to be able to recognize inside when there's turmoil, and feedback loop to be able to relax and still the mind and come to a oneness of understanding. Stabilizing the body, turning on all the different energy systems.
Hello? I was going to tell you to pass that video on to everybody to watch it at home.
Oh, but in any case, what a great video. Thank you so much.
Tell people that how we can turn on the system. And I'm making another one about sport. I taught Novak Djokovic how he could be his own doctor on the court. All these little techniques that I found that for pain and for energy and for concentration, little things, little acupuncture points, little tapping would wake up the thymus, wake up the adrenals. And I taught him how to do this so he could be his own doctor on the court. And I'm preparing another video. This was the first part of it. So I wanted to share that with you folks today. But now we get back to our entities.
Yeah, and I also made a little bit of alien research, like how the alien energy and the alien presence affects planet Earth, and how the entities and how the entities' energies can affect our body, our cognition, and our consciousness. That is what I prepared for today.
Thanks, Rita. We are expecting you. So thanks for preparing that. Desi, do you want me to go straight into the video?
Oh, no. This video is too long. This is something they should watch at home. This video, what I did is I went through and tried to find the really strong cases of possession. Okay, I wanted to really show the strong cases in history, and basically to show. Now, if we went through all of the cases of possession, we're talking millions. There's millions of stories. From the beginning of human history, there have been stories of possessions of spirits, etc. Inside the video, there's one guy from, I think it's Colombia, in South America. And he has done 35,000 exorcisms.
Yo!
20 years.
There was a very interesting movie made with Anthony Hopkins, and there he does a very powerful exorcism. What was the name of that?
Right. But there's so many cases, and there's so many true stories. People just swear the levitations and all these different things. So I tried to find what I thought were some of the best ones, and basically to show people that the Ouija boards are something to be afraid of.
And this is something.
You're opening yourself to these energies.
This is something what is not a children's toy. This is something what we just don't play with, because this can really make a bad turn in our life and take us to places where we don't want to be.
Yeah, it's so anyway, I put together this video that's going to be part of the course, because I'm doing the course on the spiritual possession. And the video, I think, is 38 minutes, so it's rather for us doing it now to show. But you should let everybody watch it at home. It's very informative. And the thing I want to say is, since we are coming on, we have absolute proof. If we ask for a vote of all the people in the world, 7 billion people, if we ask people to vote whether there's spiritual possession, something like 90% of the people in the world believe in this. They believe in a life after death, and they believe in a spirit, and they believe in the spiritual forces. So if we put this to a vote, it would definitely show. So I think that there's something that we now need to understand. But the bottom line is, when you find a spirit anyplace, in your house, in your body, in your relative, in your relationship, someplace, the more you attend to it, interact with it, you give it power. You feed it. Then you become the battery that supplies it with energy. If you look at any story anywhere in the world of a haunting, any story of a possession, whether it's Ouija board or whether it's whatever it is, you'll find a gradual building of the spirit, of this evil negative spirit. As the person starts to interact with it and communicate, that spirit takes that energy and uses it to make itself stronger and stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
We never see these possessions start off with people moving furniture or things. And that happens after a long period of time. So what you need to do when you encounter these code forces is to get rid of them, ignore them,
don't feed them.
And I have a group of videos that I've made with the prayers embedded in the videos to help demand that they leave, and all the different vibrations that are put into these things. And I just finished one today on cancer. I'll find it now. I'll let Rita talk a bit, and then I'll find the cancer video.
Good. Thank you.
So Jane, you gave the title today for your webinar also as the alien entities, and I made a little research about alien.
Yeah. Rita, just get a bit closer to the microphone so we can hear you, please.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Do you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So actually, alien abduction entities are they have always been around for a very, very long time, and alien abduction entities have always infected the human race, and there were many, many researches made that there was a time when actually the alien race was actually mixed with human beings, even DNA-wise, and there were human bodies found who had like distorted bodies and contained actually remarkings from showing signs that they had any connection to different planet aliens. And alien abductions entities are the beings alleged to secretly abduct and subject experiencers to a forced medical examination, which often emphasizes their reproductive system. Mainstream scientists and mental health professionals overwhelmingly doubt that the phenomenon occurs literally as reported, and instead attribute the experiences to deception, suggestibility, fantasy, proneness, hypnotizability, false memory, sleep phenomena, psychopathology, psychodynamics, environmental factors. Skeptic Robert Sheffer also sees similarity between the aliens depicted in early science fiction films, in particular Invaders from Mars, and those reported to have actually abducted people. The first alien abduction claimed to be widely publicized was the Betty and Barney Hill abduction in 1961, which featured diminutive, large-eyed who wore military-style uniforms. So what we can actually understand from this that anything what we have seen in any movies or fantasy or science fiction that can have a little bit of something with reality, and we cannot 100% say that it is not possible to have a little bit of these energies around us or within us, or just not having any history with this.
These entities, as we know from history, these things have been involved in the human race. So whether they're alien, whether they're spiritual, and it's just hard to tell. Now, what I just posted on the here.
I've put it on already. It's already on the groups.
Yeah, these are two videos that are really nice to play overnight. Every now and then when we get feelings of some type of something bothering the house, whatever, Rita and I, we toss these.
we very, very often notice that as soon as we watch a thriller or any scary movie, then there is a little bit of energy or chemistry change in the house or in our room.
Yeah, as soon as we watch something, we tried watching the Netflix story, The Haunted.
Oh, yeah.
And we go on, and it's different true stories. And as we're watching them, we're very entertained. But then all of a sudden, we find that we're letting things into the house.
And I started to feel a cold breeze in the bedroom, so did Desiree. And then what we see that our dog, Piggy, starts to be very nervous, looking around and whining.
Both of our dogs seem to react to it.
Yeah.
So we have to be careful what we watch. And if we watch too much of this, our brains then all of a sudden start being intrigued by the spirit world. We start to open ourselves up to the spirit world.
The more power we give to this, the more we are going to be sensitive to this perception, and then in the same time we can also give power to it if we pay too much attention to these things.
Now, what was the story that I was telling last week that I didn't?
I remember something, but I think we were getting towards something to the cyborgs where people walk in on you, and where they train the armies cyborg people in the armies. That's where I left off.
That's not where I left off. I was telling the story, and I can't remember. Maybe somebody could put on the chat to help me out what I was talking about. But,
so Desi, let's talk about that part where they try and alter you in the army and everything that I've read about.
Okay, I can tell my personal story about this. I grew up a mathematical genius and etc. And I just really loved the work of Johnny Cash. I really loved Johnny Cash's work. I just thought he was a great musician. I loved the Man in Black, his energy, the voice, everything about it. And then one day I learned that Johnny Cash at one time was a code breaker for the CIA. That was interesting. I found that out. And I walked into I was teaching at Youngstown State University. I was an associate professor. Mathematics and also parapsychology is one of my classes I taught. And I walked in and there was an ad on the board. And on the board was this ad that said they were looking for code breakers for the CIA. And I said, cool. I went to the interview and the man said that they were very interested in me because I was teaching a course in mystic philosophy. And I was, basically well-studied, and I had taken many classes and wrote books on the occult phenomena around the world. And they said, well, the Russians were using this parapsychology world to use it to make codes. So they wanted to hire me as a code breaker. I said, great. I took the job. Now, I'm not working for the Army. The CIA is not the Army. But I was employed by the CIA. So then they did a couple of tests of me, and at the same time, I was an Olympic alternate in 1968 Olympics. You see, so I was really athletic, and they did some testing, and then they said, "Oh my God!" They wanted to make me into one of their super soldiers. This was at the same time as towards the end of the Vietnam War. And at the end of the Vietnam War, America did probably one of the most horrendous things that America ever did. I think that dropping 2 atomic bombs on Japan was horrendous. Okay. And now, here we were, and this Vietnamese war was, coming down to the end. And the Vietnamese were cruel. Somebody in the American system decided they were going to foster Project Phoenix, the Phoenix Project. And they were going to make super soldiers that would be cruel. I didn't know what they were doing, but they were starting to teach me how to kill. I went to a course where they taught us 10 ways to kill somebody with chopsticks. I started, wait a minute, I'm here for code breaking. And then they gave us what they told us was a B12 injection. It was not. It was a substance known as BZ. It drove us crazy. I remember a crazed state killing 2 people. The next morning when I woke up with blood all over me, I was told, no, that was just a dream and I had killed a goat. I remember, but it was such a crazy. It was an LSD mixture with a bunch of adrenal factors, and the drug was called BZ. They made a movie about it called Jacob's Ladder. So if you have a movie, you'll see. I finally decided I was only in the project for about 6 weeks. I was on an island off of New York called Mackenzie. That's where they were training us to be these, quote, super soldiers. I decided one night, I swam off the island. It was a long way. I swam to New York. They caught me about 2 weeks later. took me down, took me into a room. They made me sign a piece of paper that I wouldn't tell anybody about this for 25 years. The 25 years is gone. I'm allowed to talk about it. For 25 years, I couldn't talk about it. And they basically let me go. They interviewed me. They let me go. But I can tell you that they were developing drugs that would blind you to any type of thought, and you just became an animal. And I think that they want this because the rage was so intense that the soldiers involved killed their other soldiers. And that's what I remember. Now, to me, it's a dream, but I tell you, no, there was something else there. It was not just a dream. But anyway, that's my own personal story. I usually facts about that for about 20-some years. Now I don't. Through my meditation states, I've been able to get together. But Rita will tell you every now and then I get pretty intense, right?
Yeah, sometimes she has a little flashback, like boom.
That's terrible.
But there, you have to imagine that the armies throughout the history of the world have been looking for this. The Nazis made they invented methamphetamine, to make their super Nazis, Nazi crack, and the other things to make their soldiers do this. The Zulu of South Africa had an herb that drove them crazy. The Zulu of South Africa, when they confronted the British Army, and you have the Zulu War. Where was this? Where was the place of that? I can't remember. You watched the movie Zulu, and they had an herbal compound that made them into super soldiers. The Vikings had a compound that made the berserkers. There were Vikings from Denmark that they would take this as they invaded England. They would take this compound and they went berserk. The name of these people from Denmark, they were the berserkers. That's where we get the word berserk, because this drug, this herb that they took. So there has been research about this throughout time, and these things used in the proper way can make people go berserk and lose their ability to feel and just go crazy with rage.
This is the same issue why, for example, amphetamine and methamphetamine is illegal, because this was also something they developed and experimented on soldiers and people, and this is also part of this BZ what Desiree mentioned.
This BZ was a compound that's been made illegal, but if you watch the movie Jacob's Ladder, it's on IMFlix, by the way. I put it on IMFlix with the
IMFlix.
What we can also recommend everybody to watch is a link if you need it. Desiree made a very scary movie about the Russian sleep experiment.
Rita, we can't hear you.
She made a very, very scary and a shocking documentary movie about the Russian sleep experiment.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions about this, but from the research I found is that they took this group of Russian prisoners. They were all condemned to life in prison. And they told them that if they could go for 20 days without sleeping, they could go free. They put them into a room and they gave them a type of gas that took away their ability to sleep. And out came this incredible, horrendous experiment that you can see. It's on IMFlix. And it's just horrendous that human beings sleep is a nutrient. A lot of people say that that's complete bullshit, but I don't believe so. I believe that there's a shadow of a true story there. In the search of pharmacology, people have always been looking for different compounds that would make people into super soldiers or super students. That's where the Ambien comes in and all these different things. But each one of these compounds that does something, there's always an equal and opposite reaction that is negative. Hahnemann said, whatever drug you take, and it has a stimulation effect for 10 minutes, there's then 4 times that, 40 minutes, where you have a sedative effect. Hahnemann said, every time you use one of these drugs that has an effect, like a cigarette has a drug in it, nicotine, and it has a stimulation effect for a couple of minutes, then for 4 times longer than that, you will have a sedative effect. And the problem with nicotine is it becomes physically addictive. You have to have more and more and more until you just need to get a fix to being normal. And without it, you're not even normal. So, very interesting.
Very interesting. And I was thinking that, all this post-traumatic stress that soldiers coming back from war go through, I wonder if it isn't just what you've experienced, where they start reliving experiences because they were drugged in the first place. So part of it is a bit of a cold turkey, and the other part would be these flashbacks. I mean, it must be a terrible, terrible situation to be in when they come back from war. And
the ones who, 80% of the people coming back, even with the most horrendous things, 80% of people just learn to deal. They learn to process. And the people who learn to process, what it seems like is that they are flexible. And it seems like they're able to think about what happened, and they don't get fixated on it. And it seems like that they can be able to have these horrendous things that happen to them. Like with me, the thing that happened to me was horrendous. But then I was able to let go. Now, then the ones who can't let go, they live it every day, and it seems like they get that memory caught in one area of the brain, and they can't let go. They relive it. That's why in the science of the eye movement side to side, simply by getting patients to move their eyes side to side while they're talking about these things, it then activates both sides of the brain, allowing whatever fixation there might be on one side to then have both sides of the brain deal with the issue, and then we can process it. We cannot process everything on just one side. We need our logical, verbal side, and we need our intuitive, visual side. And when we use both sides, we can process these materials
perfect
intellectually and let go. But when we get caught in one side, we're just having a visual memory, just visual, and we're not discussing it. You see that visual thing, then we're caught, and they relive it. Or the other way, where they just have the words, their fear, they're talking to themselves, but they're not seeing, they're not visualizing. We can use all of the parts of the brain. It seems like the human being can tolerate and get rid of almost anything.
That's a good way. That's a very good way to deal with it.
Most of the people who
what is EDMR? What's it? EDMRP. What is it?
EMDR.
EMDR. Sorry. EMDR.
I can't remember. It's eye movement. Anyway.
Yeah, EMDR.
When 9/11 happened, it was very interesting. They made it mandatory. Everybody must go to a counselor. 80% of the people who went to the counselor actually got worse because they didn't need it. They actually processed the material.
You said
so. Having a counselor making them talk about it over and over and over again.
I think that the people need these cognition techniques and this right and left brain hemisphere exercise to be able to process and release emotions, trauma, and negativity. And there are like daily activities what can enhance this kind of ability. and then it is easier to deal with things even in the everyday life, because we are actually experiencing traumas, pain, anger, sadness, and intense feelings all the time. So, and the other way how to actually improve this, what I heard is sometimes if you're left-handed, sometimes you use your right hand to switch on the light or just turn on the water, drink your glass of tea, because then you use the other side of your brain, and then you can actually balance your system and your trivector field.
I've made all kinds of videos for the new software. We're putting the videos into the software now. And they're all using left to right, activities to help people to process their stress, learn to let go of their post-traumatic stress.
And many people also claim that painting, using colors, and drawing all kinds of artistic figures and doing stuff like that can also help you get rid of tensions and drama.
The video I made for kicking the spirits out with cancer, I didn't post that yet, so I'm going to try to find it. But here I didn't post it yet. I'll be posting it tomorrow. And then I'll...
All right. Desi, Sanga's just reminded us that last week you were talking about a lady who had an alien implant.
Oh, yeah, that's it. There we go. Thank you. So basically, she came to us and she told the story. And everything was normal. She went to work for Lockheed. It's a big company in Colorado. Lockheed Martin. Yeah. I used to live next to it. I could see it. At any rate, she came to visit me in Budapest. She told the story about how she worked there. And there was a lady who also worked there, the secretary, and then the other secretary, her and the two girls fought at work. They had a big fight. The one girl got fired, and then the girl who stayed, the girl with this thing, she said one day she woke up and she didn't remember exactly how she got home. She was home, she woke up, and it seemed like she could hear people talk inside of her ear, in her right ear. She said that she could feel something and she could hear discussions. Not a lot, but she every now and then she could hear this. So then she started to have the idea that there was something in her ear and that they were listening to everything she said. And they were listening to her life. And she thought that the other secretary had done this to her. Well, we checked in, and the other secretary was just a low-level secretary who was asked to leave because of the fight. So she was nobody important. But yet there was this such very strong emotional hang-up for her. Still, she had this idea. I wanted to keep an open mind. So when she came over here, and I said, fine. So she spent time with us on the machine. Our machine discovered that there was something there. There was some type of energy in this ear. Of course, our machine is not designed to tell us exactly, but we found something there. So I said, okay. I said, we'll go get an X-ray. Next step would be an X-ray. So we went and got an X-ray, professional X-ray. I have friends, And we got an X-ray, and there was something there. And we blew it up in the X-ray, and there was something there. And it appeared to look something electronic, but it was not a chip, nothing made by mankind's engineering. It seemed to be something organic. We started to study this. We started to look at it. And then I stumbled onto this big, giant group of chip people. Oh my God, there's a great big, giant group. There's thousands of people who tell thousands of different stories. about this. They all have these little things. So I tried to explain that Lockheed Martin, if they had a technology that they could put into your body and listen to you talk and then talk to you, if they had such a technology, first thing they would do is try to make money. That's what Lockheed Martin would do. Lockheed Martin would not pick her. There was no information that she had. She was basically just a secretary who then couldn't work. She had to quit. There was nothing of any interest that she had. But she could have been an experimental subject. So I said, okay, you could have been the experimental subject. So let's try to track this down. Let's try to understand. And as I got through, I finally told her that if this was something, I don't believe that it came from Lockheed Martin. I could not find, after she quit work, I couldn't find any connection there. I couldn't find any reason whatsoever that they would have in doing this. If they would have done this to her, I think they would have kept her on as an employee to monitor. But they fired her. And then they didn't care about her. There was no feedback whatsoever. So I started to talk to her, and the more I talked with her, the more fixated she got into her emotional feelings that this ex-secretary enemy of hers was behind it all. And I could not get her to let go of that. I kept trying to tell her the secretary would not have the technology to knock you out and put this thing into your ear.
You could actually sense that there was an active fear and some anxiety after that, so it was not all made up in her mind.
Yeah, there was something there.
Yeah.
But I told her, I said, if you could give up the idea was a problem with this secretary at Lockheed Martin, if you could just recognize something's in your ear, I said, because the next step is we can have a surgeon remove it. It was not that difficult. We could have a surgeon remove it. I said, I have friends over here in Budapest who could have done that. I said, I would go into the surgical theater and assist, for you, just to make sure that you're safe, because this was not anywhere where it would have been risky. And then she would not let go of her emotional. She would not let go of her psychological dependency. That this thing was because of this enemy of hers. So she would not let go of that. So I told her, I said, well, then it's going to be really hard for me to work with you. And I have to continuously argue. I said, you can't offer me any. But there was something there. And then I started networking with a bunch of other people. And then the other people who were sending me these stories, as soon as I would start to explore into the physicalness of their chip and not the psychology behind their story, their victim story, they would all break off contact.
Unbelievable.
So they'd be very interested in talking to me, and then I'd say, okay, let's get it X-rayed, let's get it removed, and then all of a sudden, no, there was change. Yeah, we don't want to talk about that. So they moved away, and then I started to see, I just don't know where that is. But I'll tell you what, there was something in that ear. So I believe if there was, it's either that she had a genetic, a benign tumor, okay, that got some type of a grain of sand in it or something, I don't know. That's a possibility. Or there was actually some alien technology. But this was nothing designed by mankind. That I can't find anything in the literature like this designed by man. Unless there's some, laboratory working behind the scenes, a laboratory that is so well funded that they don't need to release their data in any way. Those things are possible. And if we could remove it, check it out. But
You would have a better idea.
But all of the people in these stories, you know, in fact, there was one story of a man who did get it removed, and they found in it a metal that was not from the planet Earth. That was on a television show called Proof Positive, but they could not get anything else from that. It was just a piece of metal that was not from the planet Earth. And it was a very, very small thing that was inside his body, a chip in his neck. So very interesting. I can't close the book on it. But then all of a sudden, all the people in the network who were contacting me, one by one, they stopped when they started thinking that I was doing science. They didn't want science. They wanted
the story.
Well, they wanted psychological strokes. You know. So that's my story. Thank you, Sanjay.
Well, thank you, Desi. I mean, I think there's para-abnormal stuff happening, as you've mentioned, and it's about all of us being awake and aware, you know, to possibilities.
Have to be open-minded.
Exactly.
Open-minded. We have to understand all things are possible.
And the most beautiful thing is the device that you've given us, because we can work on it. Desi, I think probably every third person I find an alien energy form on, and probably you do as well. And even children, you know, in a week apart, there's another one, and a week apart, there's another one. So, again, you know.
I started doing this, and I first built that. There was only like 1 in 20. And then I remember about 10 years ago, it was like 1 in 10. But now you're seeing more and more of it.
More and more and more. And it worries me also because you spoke about people being recycled if they don't transmute over to the other side. And I mean, with what's going on with the transformation of our DNA and things like that, I reckon we're going to have a lot of people, like you said, stuck in the bardo, and more people trying to attach somewhere. So we've got to do our housekeeping, as you said last week.
Yeah, we have to be able to keep our own hearts and minds clear. This is why I'm making a bunch of these videos to.
Thank you.
This provides a vibration, infrasound, ultrasound, many other vibrations, along with a prayer wheel, along with a certain vibration rate. It's all designed to help out any negative entity out of your body and out of your house.
Beautiful.
And you play it overnight. Play it as low as you want. Try to have some volume, but try to play it so you don't even hear it.
And the effective way to use it is if you go down a little bit into a lower, like half asleep, half awake state, into the theta state, like half meditative state, then you can actually improve your insight and your inner skills and emotional perceptions, how to get rid of it.
It's got to be so needed in our house that Rita and I, one of our computers is playing it almost every night. We don't like it on the computer next to the bed. We don't like it there.
No.
But I play it downstairs. We stay in the upstairs bedroom, and in the downstairs bedroom I let it play, and the house just seems safer. You know, and when
am I correct in saying that you can use it to expel these things, but also preventatively?
Yeah, exactly.
So even if you don't have, you can still use it preventatively.
Exactly. It's designed with a very powerful prayer based on the work of Solomon's prayer, and all the different basic prayers of all the major religions. So it's all into a blend, so that it asks and then demands that negative energies, negative spirits spiritual energies must leave. So they're welcome, and they're escorted to the light.
Perfect.
Try it. Let me know what happens.
Right, we'll do that, certainly, absolutely. Thank you for your time, Daisy. I see we've had a full hour of you and Rita. What I'm gonna present now is remember last year we did Raising Humanities Immunity to COVID, and Daisy, I just want to share something with you that 2 weeks ago I ran it just before the new immune series lectures, and I was a little bit astounded because the results had improved so much, especially the brain amplitude. Last year we were on 5 and 10, and we were sitting on something like 60, and I was thinking to myself, well, let me just rerun this, maybe, I'm not sure. And I reran it, and I've done it again this evening, and there's definitely been a significant shift in the VAHOB readings for humanity, where we were raising our immunity to COVID in the greater scheme of things. So just to give you feedback on that, there's definitely an upward shift.
The old COVID is...
Pardon?
The old COVID is human beings are getting a herd immunity to it.
Oi, Daisy, we can't hear you.
The old COVID, the old form of it, human beings are developing an immunity to it called a herd immunity. And the vaccine is also building it. So, but other forms, the Vietnamese have found a new COVID, which is creating a problem. There's a new COVID in India creating a problem. So I don't know if we're out of the woods. I think that, but what we're doing seems to be helping. So let's do it some more.
And then the other thing I wanted to just mention before we start, that Desiree made a fantastic sound what can actually detect alien energies in people. There is a very powerful signal built in it, and those people who are actually a little bit like mixed with alien energy, they react kind of irritant to the frequency.
That's next week's talk.
Yeah, that will be next week's talk.
Okay, so everybody be good. Good weekend.
Have a nice weekend.
Just don't everybody leave. I've got some slides I want to show you, and I want to help the quantum therapists through a little bit of a methodology. Bye Daisy, bye Rita. So those of you who want to stay, I just want to show you. This is a it's a little bit of a methodology to use. Daisy doesn't like protocols or anything, but this is the method that we used last year. So this is for the therapists, but also for people who don't have devices, it's about connecting yourself with the universal field and universal consciousness and working with us over the next 24 hours anyway. And then, as I said in the beginning, tomorrow at 7 p.m., on the Jane Live show, I'll be repeating, giving back feedback on what people have sent to me and what I found also on my device. And it was really astounding last year when we worked together as a group. So those of you who already know this methodology, and those of you who want to join us, please just follow in with us. So this is what we do here, is that we will type in under the name. You go into your quantum device, you type in under name at the top, Humanities Immunity to COVID in the broader scheme of things. And then you immediately go through to loading the patient. You don't fill in any of the SOCs, and then you will put in today's date. That's all you do, and you close. You calibrate. You run the VAHOP electromagnetic panel. You run the Nelson panel, and you look for possible organs. You will run the organ field as protection, and then you will go to the risks. You'll note the risks. You'll note the values of the risks. You'll then go to the nutrition panel, which is under risks, and run and feed humanity minerals, amino acids. Look for the radiation and nutrition. And then you will go to SAR codes, get the emotions out and go to shaping and add them under shaping. And then you will look at short SAR codes and, provoke the detox organs and tell them that we're about to detox. So you will run all the detox programs there, including skin. And then you will run the universal programs chosen. So mine might be slightly different to yours. It doesn't matter. You run the chosen universal programs, 2 of them. And then after that, you can go into the NLPs and you can run all sorts of things, because what we're wanting to do is release the old negativity that's not serving us anymore and shift humanity into the new paradigm, the new space that is serving us, the awareness, the creativity, the imagination space where people are living their purpose, etc. And raise the vibration in so doing. So these are all just little examples of what you can run under NLP, and it really is a lot. But as you know, with our devices, they're auto-focusing, so they are sending us and guiding us here and there. So everyone would be different, and then you would run the retest and record the new bar hope. And we like to get over 45%, 50% or more improvement in our readings. If any of you are struggling and want to know more, just send me an email, and I can give you some more information on this. But screenshot this, because this is a great way to get information and then feed it back to me before tomorrow night, and then I'll be able to give more of a global feedback. This is the event tomorrow night. I have it every Thursday, which is live, and we talk about miracle medicine and case study feedback. So if you look at the bottom here, there's the webinar registration, the link, and it's a recurring link, so you can go back in the WhatsApp groups and have a look as well. So that's tomorrow night. Okay, so I think it's been an absolute feast this evening, and I've loved it. It's been it just equips us as individuals, as therapists, with so much information, so much more insight and ability also to understand situations and things that are going on. And as Daisy said, anything is possible. So with that, I wanted to just read to you what I found regarding humanity this evening, and just to tell you that the lung meridian needs to be reorganized. As the meridian is the spiral, the golden mean spiral, and then we're also having a look at, we need to clear the liver, the pancreas. We need a higher blood oxygen saturation level, so that gets back to the breathing again. We need to have a look at, these risk factors have come right down. I'm talking about risk factors here with a gap of from 130 out of 100. Last year, it was well into the 200s, but well into the 200s. So there are definitely significant shifts. We're not out of the woods, but there are definitely. So even things like hopeless despair was a terribly large risk factor. Now it's 122 out of 100. That's really small. The nerve meridians, the parasympathetic nervous system always, because we overstimulate. We talked about adrenals and adrenaline and hypoadrenia earlier. So there's an overstimulation of the sympathetic nervous system. And the parasympathetic nervous system is digestion, circulation, elimination, and those involuntary systems. So more care and concern for relaxation. Active relaxation is required. And then also breaking down resistance to infection. And then let me see anything else that's carbon monoxide buildup. That's from the roads, from traveling. Butane, also a chemical toxin. And then look, it goes up a little bit, digestion. We need to improve digestion. And then I'm just going to have a look on the chronic side and give you also a little bit of feedback. So those of you who are doing the universal, direct universal, I mean, the quantum therapist will be doing it as well, the direct universal connection, and we use the device at the same time. So this is just giving you some information directly from the subconscious of humanity. Okay. And then we're having a look at, let me see, some pesticides hanging around, acidity in the body, some fatty acid buildup, lipid buildup, not sufficient fat digestion and insufficient protein digestion as well. Let's go through here. Have you noticed I haven't said anything about any sort of flu virus or anything like that? That's not that's not mentioned. Just a second. I want to go back up there again. And let's see what else is hanging around here. And then we've got like our fair share of biowarfare organisms that need to get cleaned out. So I also posted on our group today an opportunity to purify and detox the body. So anybody is welcome to contact me about that. And literally in 1 month, we can clean out a massive amount of toxins. If we have to do month 2, we will. But in 1 month, with 2 quantum sessions and a box of products, detox nutrients, we can clean out this significantly, and we can show you the difference. So I think I've mentioned most of it. Most of the things that are pathogens hanging around, that's true. And then, yeah, that's basically it. Compared to last time, this is a radical improvement. And then also things like dwelling on the thoughts of the past, nostalgic, feeling homesick. Remember when, what used to be normal. Our life used to be like this. So there's too much of us, many people clinging to the past, and it really does block moving to the future. So just so you can pick up on that one as well when we're doing our meditations and things, to let go of the negativity, the past, things which are not serving us anymore, and open up into the space where we can really shift positively in the new paradigm. Take humanity into the new space, and where we can really develop the new golden DNA. So yeah, quite a lot of infections, as I said to you. And we need to really charge the adrenal system. We've got to bring charge into the body. So the QUEX device does that. Almost Gold will charge the body as well. And obviously, as you detox, the energy that comes in also will charge the body, charge the adrenals. So that I think is very positive. And, I know that Desi's working also regularly on humanity as well, and doing lots of other things. There's another emotion here, uncertainty. So we still have uncertainty, but again, it's small. It's 47, just below 50. So not nearly like last year. Okay, so I invite you all to join us all, and okay, thanks. So we're talking about liver detox. Yeah, look, it's the major detox organ. So liver has to be detoxed. Okay, we have to help the liver every time, because 9 times out of 10 it's a little bit dirty. There's parasites, there's flukes, flatworms, rancid oil in pools lying around the liver. The liver is a very forgiving organ because it will regenerate. So fortunately. Okay, but live, L-I-V-E, and then R, live. We need to have the liver clean so that we are alive. All right, everybody, thank you for your attention. All of you guys who are joining in, I look forward to 7 o'clock tomorrow. That's South African time, Greenwich Mean Time plus 2 hours, same as tonight. and then we can get some more feedback as to how we're progressing with humanity, and we're doing our bit. That's the main thing. Okay, more next week. Bye for now.